Hello, everybody. This is Frank with Iron Age News. It is Tuesday, November 11th, noon or 12:08. And I'm going to go over something that came up in the news again today having to do with the shutdown. Under the federal shutdown of 2025, which is the one we're in now, as the government ground to a halt, one group of federal employees still had to show up, and that was the United States air traffic controllers. I bring this up because it's been a very big issue in our state of Florida, and especially with the holiday season coming up, it has caused quite a bit of concern. The air traffic controllers are classified as accepted, EX, not AC, accepted personnel. That means even when Washington stops paying its bills, they have to keep working because lives depend on it. Now, you can argue whether or not you think commercial aircraft taking tourists to and from different spots is one thing, but the amount of cargo aircraft that flies every day around the United States is staggering. The air traffic controllers are on basically for them, and that is why they have the job that they have. But as the shutdown is dragged on, reports began surfacing that some controllers weren't showing up. They were sicking out, there were absences, there was burnout. And then in comes Donald Trump, as usual, angry, animated, and unmistakably on his brand. And he goes on the social network platforms and says, if you didn't show up, you let your country down. Okay. Now, at first glance, that sounds like a straight up Trump thing, right? Bluster, bravado, talking some shit. But underneath that frustration was something different. Trump, like any executive, saw the absences not as a labor problem, but as a breach of duty. Trump is very big on that. And for them not to have seen this coming or not to have anticipated it was widely irresponsible on those who push the idea of the sick out or the not attending of jobs because these weren't just employees missing a paycheck. These were people keeping airplanes separated by inches and seconds, the ones holding the sky together. And the key point, they didn't gain anything by staying home. Before you guys start, under federal law, no one is accepted with an EX. No one in an accepted position can take paid leave during a shutdown. So any time off was not a benefit, it was unpaid leave. That means, in Trump's mind, he wasn't wrong to suspect the motives were personal, maybe ideological, maybe emotional, but not financial, right? Uh, Air traffic control has been a symbol of national reliability since its inception. In 1981, when President Reagan fired more than 11,000 striking controllers, it wasn't because he lacked sympathy, it was because the stakes were very high. Too high, in fact, to be playing around. Trump's approach echoes the same instinct: reward those who serve, expose those who don't. He promised a $10,000 bonus to controllers who kept working, calling them patriots. Was it political? Of course, but it's also philosophical. It is a statement of duty that comes before grievance. Within the last few weeks, we've seen people, down to the insane people, I believe they were at Vanity Fair, who were trying to force a higher pay for a job that a monkey can do on their editor. Hopefully, he fired all of them because it's not like there aren't many more gifted people out there who could do that job, right? But this air traffic controller thing is different. So, to many Americans, the idea feels outdated. Loyalty, blah, 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 blah. They don't believe in it because they have no loyalty to themselves, but that's a psychological story for another day. We live in a culture of grievance where personal belief, personal comfort, personal outrage all seem to come before collective responsibility. But think about what's at stake here. When a controller stays home, flights get delayed, systems clog, and safety margins tighten. Could people die? Possibly. They can die on a regular day, so they're definitely going to die if there's more people in the air without people to watch their movements, right? It's not just an administrative inconvenience, it's a test of whether public service still means service at all. So Trump's rhetoric, loud, abrasive, and unmistakably Trumpian, put that question back in the public square. Are we still a country that expects people in essential roles to serve the public, even when it's uncomfortable to do so? And that, let's take it full circle and look at what's going on in the city of New York only for the moment because they get what they deserve. However, the police department on January 1st is supposedly going to lose half of its people. Based on what? This same type of thing, right? Although I think the people that are leaving are probably already in the drop and are just like, it's time to go. But that is neither here nor there. The fact is, when you took that cop job or you took the fireman job or whatever else, there was an oath involved. Same as even these people who cry over at the National Guard about different things, or in the military right now, there's a lieutenant saying some other stupid shit over at Air Force. But that's sort of what Air Force does, you know? But this is where we are here. This story, it's important. Lives were at risk and are at risk. Because in the end, this just wasn't about Trump or even about the FAA. It's about something larger, the fading sense of duty as a civic virtue, which is what your potential socialist or Arabic overlords want. They want that gone. It's easier to deal with you when you don't believe that you have a duty to society, that you have a duty to yourself. And your duty to yourself is usually bullshit if you deal with those people. He saw absences not as a defiance of him personally, but it was evidence that too many public workers now see themselves as employees first and citizens second. Now, is that the union's fault? I don't know. We'd have to talk to them. And in his blunt, unsparing way, he called it out. Now, you don't have to like Trump to understand his frustration. When personal belief outweighs public obligation, the whole system kind of gets wobbly. The government can survive partisanship. What it can't survive is a workforce that does not believe in its duty or its responsibilities, and it's just impossible for it to work. So that's basically what's going on there. As far as the other issue with the vote, there's two or three more votes before they can open the country. I think that's why Trump put the money out there now, because there's a good chance that the Democrats will turn around and do some fuckery and keep the place shut down further. But there are ways to work around things. So we shall see what goes on next. All right. Otherwise, have a good day. It is Tuesday. I don't know what to tell you. Have a good day. Talk to you later on.